Starting this podcast was an unexpected step of obedience of something that God has called me to do. Through this podcast, I will be interviewing ordinary people who have seen and experienced God move in extraordinary ways throughout their lives. I pray that this will build your faith and encourage you to testify of God's goodness in your everyday lives. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Testify of God's Goodness podcast. I have here with us John and Dorothy Hot. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to share your story with everybody. You guys have a wealth of wisdom. We're going to talk about it later, but they have 48 years under their belt of marriage. So that's a huge blessing. So you guys are going to be able to give some advice to us as well. And then kind of talk about the work that God has done in and through your life, through the highs and the lows. So, we'll just go ahead and dive right in if you guys are good with that. Okay, so tell us about yourselves, so your work or callings in life, your family, and then anything else that you'd like to share.
Well, my work as a mechanic in a factory for 34 years, and so I've been driving back and forth to Winchester with O'Sullivan and Crown, and the other place, what is it? Shockey Brothers. For
Okay.
40 years going back and forth
And
down the road. And it's been a good life so far that way. And so that's my story.
Very cool.
Well, we've been married 48 years this coming Wednesday. And I got married at the age of 16.
I was 19.
Wow,
On my
I didn't know
16th
that.
birthday.
Okay.
And I can't say I recommend it. And I have been a teen leader. And we have talked about this openly with the last group of teens that came through. Because I didn't want them to think that, it's a good thing to actually dive into that big responsibility of marriage and that big a commitment. So we would talk about it openly in a teen group about me getting married so young.
Yeah.
We got married. I was at the age of 16, my 16th birthday. I went to school for 3 years married. We didn't have children until after I got out of school, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
I was 19 when I had my first born, John Glenn. And it's been a short but long ride.
Yeah.
Well, her dad would not let us see each other. Would never let us go out on a date.
14.
So,
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's
anyway,
hard.
14. But I was kind of an older person at 14.
Yeah.
She'd been robbed of her childhood anyway. So we got her mother to sign the papers.
Okay.
And so that way we was able to get married at such a young age.
Wow.
Anyway, but Dorothy has always been she started taking care of the house and getting her dad up when she's 6 years old or something. And it's ridiculous because her mom had some issues. And so she really got robbed of her childhood.
Yeah.
Where that's all I had was a childhood. And I still lived it for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He says robbed of childhood, but me, I think of it as, yes, in a way, but I grew up quickly.
It built a character.
It built my character. My mom was mentally ill most of my life with something, and she had a bad heart. And so it wasn't nothing to like come home from school, and she also had anger issues. Come home from school, and the 5 of us kids would already have gotten up and had went to school, and mother had been up all night pacing the floors crying and could not deal with life. And then she would say, why aren't you all in school? And I'd say, but we were in school, we just got home. So that her whole day, it's a sad deal.
Yeah.
But at that time, of course, I didn't know, and that meant being the oldest girl, I have to step up and take responsibility of the younger siblings. I had, a sister was 5 years younger than I, and my brother Ricky, who's deceased now, but he was 3 years difference than I. But there was 5 of us, and we all worked hard. We had an orchard, which that was our school clothes money.
And they
we
only had
peaches.
one income. Carl worked for a street company till he got his own business. So I imagine that was pretty skimpy on and when I came along, I introduced her to a midnight snack before bed.
Yeah.
Which they never had, but we always had at our house.
Yeah, we never knew because, you got supper and that was it. Because there was just enough food for, it was just, the way it was. So about before I was 10 years old, I was cooking a meal and getting my dad up at 4 o'clock. And about 6 o'clock, he was out the door. I had a lunch packed and got everybody up when
Wow.
we got to school. And life is what it is. So at 14, I
You're
was
very much an adult at that
seemed
point.
like
Wow.
I seemed like it, but yet at the same time, it marriage is a big responsibility and a big
Yeah.
taking on.
Trying to realize that I'm a daydreamer, so I
Yeah.
never really had a grip on a lot of things.
No, none
Anyway,
of us
we
did.
got married to Reverend Hooper, counseled us before he married us, and he said, "Well, I have a baby that's 16 years old, but I imagine his baby wasn't doing the laundry and doing the cooking and all that stuff
Right.
either,
Yeah.
managing the household." And believe it or not, Reverend Hooper was Pastor Q's pastor.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So we got, I
That's
got
cool how that
incarcerated in Bedford Road Baptist Church,
He calls marriage incarcerated.
1977.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty funny.
That's
But anyway,
hilarious.
as through life, we were just kids learning how to play the role. And as for being a Christian, my mom and dad went to church. My dad was a deacon in the church, and I don't remember not going and serving the Lord. At the age of 7, I accepted Jesus in my heart, and I knew that He was the way, the truth, and the life.
Yeah.
And without Christ in my life, I can't imagine getting through any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
That's what makes a relationship work, is if God is first in life, as opposed to trying to please your wife or your husband. God,
right.
you try to please Him.
Yeah.
That's what makes it work.
Yeah.
Not that we don't have troubles. We had some troubles down through the years and that kind of thing. Had to learn a few things. Had to take a few lumps.
Yeah.
But I think I'm a better person for it because of some of the lessons I've learned. Would I go back and change things that happened in the past? I don't know, because it's been such a good learning tool
Yeah.
to grow me up, So
That's a great view on it. So for anybody who's walking through something hard, just to hear you guys say like you wouldn't change it because it did grow you and teach you a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yes, as I was telling you a couple Sundays ago when you asked us to do this podcast, I talked to you about the infidelity and the things that happened in our married life. Even though you're Christians, does not mean things is going to always be perfect.
Yeah.
When we got married, 2 years later, now I'm helping my dad. He has quit the tree business and went in business for himself.
Okay.
So I'm now running an office and going to school, and then began to have a family. And then life, 9 years later or more, we have now 3 children. And we didn't think about continuing to date, continuing to blossom. Now my mom has had mental breakdowns. She started that when I was 19. I had to have her committed, and it's hard to talk about.
That's a horrible part of life.
Yeah.
Same with JW. You got to take the person to court and then stand right in front of them and say, this person is really not fit to be taken and put away.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
and JW's at the table saying, help me. And we're trying to help him, but he don't know that.
Yeah.
The court system's so terrible. Bill O'Reilly said, I don't know why these people can't take care of mental people at home, just so they don't got to shoot people. Well, he should try that sometime, because you got to almost make up stuff in the court that he's going to hurt somebody or they won't help you. And they know. And at one time, had handcuffs, talking about killer. Dale was there, I think. He would bang his handcuffs on the table and interrupt and that kind of thing. And you can plainly see that there's an issue there. But if he's not threatening to hurt somebody or himself, then they won't help you.
Right.
But if he is, then they'll send him up to like Sharp Institute and Wesson, and which helped him a lot.
To get a clarification, our son JW, as he was our youngest of the 3, and he went through with another boy. He was best friends with Brian Brick, his best friend.
Tragedy.
And so he was with him when he drowned, and so was of other kids, and they were friends kindergarten. That there was always Brian and him hanging out. But in college,
and lived together for 4 years in college, and then it took him like a year and a half or 2 years before he told me that it was his idea to cross the river. So and he carried that burden right up to the end because on Brian's birthday, sometime in March, I think, I'm not so sure, he said, I finally made it past Brian's birthday without taking my meds. And there's the issue. And the other issue is HIPAA. That just burns me up. They will not tell you if he's taking his meds or not.
Yeah.
So you can't find out. And he went to a place in Colorado. That's a long story, you know. And we went to pick him up, but there's a place on the other side of Aurora where they saw what the issue was because he had a tussle with the police. Because he went to the hospital knowing he's getting ready to have a spell. And instead of them understanding anything, they tried to grab him and tie him down. So there was a fight, dislocated his shoulder, and then and he finally got away and ran down the street without any clothes, I think, because he peed in his pants, so they let go of him. That's what he said. So they cut his pants off, and we went back to get the car out of the parking lot. Oh, we don't have his key or his stuff, and we don't have that. They just stonewalled us on it. Anyway, while we went to get him, we took him over to the other hospital on the other side of the road. And they happened to have a department there also, and they noticed what was going on, so they kept it, and they sent him to another institution where that was the best that he ever did. When he came home, we brought him home, and he said, well, he was so clear, and he said, like, I got a lot of people I will need to apologize to, and that kind of thing, because he really, I don't know what they gave him.
Yeah,
can't find out. You call them and tell them that. Tell the other place to call them. Oh, we can't tell you none of the information. It just makes me so daggone mad.
Himself.
Yeah,
That's
it just makes you mad. And you got to fight the courts to get him help, and then they won't help you when they do help. But that's the only time that was the clearest he'd ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So the other place, the last place we took him, we took pictures out there. This is what JW looks like when he's well. Yeah. This is what JW is like, and we talked to him and all that kind of thing, and of course they just talked to him for a while, and which they didn't really do it because when we went to visit him, it wasn't 45 minutes or half hour that he was telling us that, well, as soon as you guys leave, they're going to have the police come in and get me. Now, why didn't they see that? You know what I mean? But they didn't. So they released him, and 3 days later, he took his life.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Jay was 29 years old when he took his life, and he had been in the hospital 6 times. When you say in the hospital, when he was a child, he was never sick. He was always funny. He was
he was sharp.
He was sharp. He played guitar. Everything. He was just such a good kid. And then after the death of his best friend, his life began to go downhill. And he heard voices in his head. He became schizophrenia.
I'm not sure it didn't trigger.
And he really had a very difficult time.
So,
and we had to go to court 6 times to have him because they don't know they're sick. Yeah. And it doesn't take long in court once you get there if they begin to talk for themselves. He pretty much took over his own conversation, and he realized it was going south. So therefore, we were blessed to have judges here in the county that understood that was not JW there, that he was sick. But even after they take him and put him in hospitals, unless they take the meds on their own or they get the right balance, because I have a sister who is also bipolar schizophrenia, and she lives with us because my brother passed away, and we took her in a year before my son took his life. And it's such a hard disease until you get the right balance of medication. Yeah. And
they got to understand that that's what I got to do.
That you got to do. Right. Praise the Lord. Yeah, my sister went through many times too. I didn't know where she was. We would go by the hospital and see her car in the lot. It was the only way she disappeared, and that I knew she was there. The courts, what can we do to help? If they would just let the parents be able to take care of their children. But once they become of 18, they are their own person. They can do it. That's why we have a lot of street people, is because they are ill and they need help, but there's no way to help them.
And I couldn't believe this. Wow. FMLA will not be covered for an adult child. You can't get FMLA. Some is like 23 days from work, and I was on a grill at work for that, and that was pretty serious. But I couldn't believe it when he told me I FMLA didn't work. But they didn't know it either, evidently,
Because
because
they
they let me
lose the
miss the time.
insurance, and that's a lot of money out of pocket for the medications and stuff.
Yeah,
Yes, the
yeah.
medications itself, just one medication is $1,500 a month. And when I asked President Trump to please change things in that area,
Yeah.
because that is ridiculous. And then when they tell you, you got to come up with that money or you can't, unless they can get them on Medicaid or get them on help.
Yeah.
But see, if they won't help themselves to put themselves on it,
Right.
it becomes such an issue. So for us, we had to go through the hurdles of trying to get him help because he was no longer on my insurance
Right.
any
Yeah.
longer because he's of age.
Right.
And it was a really tough thing. I know they have raised it to 27, and I think Obama did that, which was a blessing, or Clinton. That was a blessing, but at the same time, it's very difficult for us to get care, and for
Yeah.
parents to get care out there
Then
for
that's
them.
hard for somebody to like hold a job if they don't have the to get a job to get the insurance.
Right? They
Yeah.
can't hold a
get the
job because they're not
medication.
well.
Right.
I mean,
That's
they're
a
well
vicious
for a
cycle.
while, and then it's like this. It goes up
Right.
and down, and it's very difficult.
But he had a photography business. He took shots for photograph weddings, and he went in free to concerts if he took pictures, that kind of
Mhm.
thing, So he had going, and Joe, down in Nashville, our nephew Joe Hot,
Mhm.
he's down in Nashville. He's doing pretty good. His record label used the pictures that JW took.
Oh,
Now, I don't know
that's
if you know how
cool.
the system works down there, but down there they have to have their fingerprints on everything.
Mhm.
So
Your
the photographer has to be
manager.
somebody that we sponsor.
Right.
We don't accept any outside business. Same, you can record. I got a recorder. You can record the best song, best quality. We can't use that. It's got to be done here.
Right.
So anyway, they bought JW's pictures to use for
That's
for
cool.
Joe's first album down
That's
there.
really cool.
Yeah, he had a keen eye
He had
for
an eye, that's for
photography.
sure.
And
And I got his camera. All the buttons are wore off. You can't tell what button it is.
Oh, that's cool that you still have it though.
I was going to use it too, but I can't tell where the buttons are.
Yeah.
But through it all, now that of course JW has passed, by suicidal.
Mhm.
And you can't forget that.
No,
It just comes up. Just after so much time goes by, you don't think about it every day,
Yeah.
but it still comes in waves, and you think about it.
yeah,
I know Jay told me. He said, "I love you, Dad." That was the last words he said to me,
Mhm.
and I couldn't. I didn't get the signal. You know, that's a signal right there, but I didn't get it. Anyways, I love you too, son. More than you know. And that's the last words he
the
spoke.
normal reaction, like
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yep. And I
Happy
said,
for
"Well, I
to
got to
catch
work
on to.
tomorrow, but I'm off on Monday. We'll hang out and do some stuff." Well, it's the next day, and so
but you never know what you're going to go through in life.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I can't imagine people that go through mental sickness,
Mhm.
suicide of a child, uh, hard things in life, marital problems, because there's always hope.
Yeah.
But without Christ in your life, I can't imagine how people get through
Yeah.
the hard times without Him in our lives,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and the heavenly hope that someday that we'll be there.
Yeah.
and on top of JW losing his best friend, he went down to Myrtle Beach because Becky's living down there,
Mhm.
and he was
After
hanging out for a
Brian's
while,
death.
So his friend that he played music with, older man, texted him. JW didn't answer. When we went back home, that guy had killed himself.
Oh.
He lost a friend too. That within the next couple years, that
it wasn't that long.
and
But I
that
don't know
took
how.
his life.
I don't know how the poor boy stood it. I really don't.
Yeah. Wow. I am so sorry.
but he couldn't forgive himself.
He never got past that with Brian.
With Brian's
Of course, he
death.
wouldn't.
Mhm.
It changed you forever. And he accepted Christ when he was a little boy too. He came to our room and after vacation Bible school, and we did the sinner's prayer, asked
Yeah.
Christ into his heart, and
That's what makes me believe that he's
Yes.
okay right now.
Yeah.
and because a lot of people says, well, he won't be there because suicidal
That's newer in the Bible that I know of.
I
That
know.
a certain like Jesus died for all
But you
of
got to be
everything, and it doesn't say like a certain way of
no.
dying is
But that would
takes your
definitely
salvation. No, that would go
hinges
against
on not being
Scripture.
able to repent if you do that.
See, the thing